What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Chat Shack. This isn't Jack. This is Max. Jack is unfortunately ill today, but I'm hoping he'll be back for next episode, so don't worry about that. But today, let's just start off by saying me and Max went to the cinema yesterday. We looked at what was on. Nothing good was on, except for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, one of the most anticipated sequels, summer movies, anything. Like, this probably one of the biggest movies to come out this year.
Yeah.
And because following the first one, which was so good, everyone wants to go and see this one. So we're going to start off by saying what we thought of it. No spoilers at the beginning. But then after we've said all that, we're going to start going to spoilers. But we'll warn you beforehand if you haven't seen it already. So, yeah. But anyway, what did you think of it?
I loved it. I thought it really did the first one justice.
Sit closer to the mic.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, it really did the first one justice. You know, the action scene. The thing about this one, it was completely different.
It was a completely different film.
Completely different film. I mean, you know, it had a different feel to it. I'd say if I had to pick out of the two, I'd probably choose the first one, because the first one just you saw the ape grow up, Caesar, get connected with him.
Basically, the first one. This is how it is. Basically, the first. If you haven't seen any of them, the first one is basically
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Well, so I hadn't seen it until recently. That's the thing.
True,
but basically, the first one's about Caesar growing up, and you kind of get connected. That's basically the movie. You get connected to Caesar, and the second one is basically
after Caesar's taken over. The apes have basically taken over.
It's basically
planet,
it's not. The first one is basically all about Caesar. Second one isn't all about Caesar.
It's about the other apes.
It's about how
civilization.
Yeah, it's about how apes and humans interact and all that stuff. And it's interesting. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying we're just saying basically the first one is probably the one we prefer, because I think Caesar's story in the first one is really good. But there's no disrespect to the second one though.
And as well, the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it to be so good, because, let's face it, Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes was pretty awful.
It was pretty bad.
It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
It was probably one of his worst films.
Oh, yeah, definitely his worst film. Yeah, it was terrible. I know no one that likes that film.
No. It was. I remember seeing it when I was quite young.
Yeah, I kind of liked it when I was younger.
And it was alright when you're younger, but when you see it and you're...
Yeah.
When you've seen enough films to know what a good film is, then it's a bad film.
It's a bit like, when you first see X-Men 3.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, it was alright, but it's nowhere near as good as X-Men 2 and X-Men 1. But then you see X-Men 3 again, and you're like, why would you make that film?
But yeah, if I had to rate it out of 10, the first one I'd rate
9.
Probably about 8.5 to 9. This one, it would be probably an 8.5.
Yeah.
Maybe not pushing to 9, but it's still a really, really good film.
It is. It's great.
So now, everyone who hasn't seen Dawn of the Planet of the Apes yet, turn off, because we're going to go into some spoilers now. So, the film starts off with...
let me just say that Andy Serkis is amazing in this film.
Yeah, Andy Serkis is great in everything he does.
I expected him to be amazing.
Yeah. But it starts off with the apes, and it basically kind of the first 10 minutes is like kind of easing into it, like
explaining
showing
what happened to
it's
the
like
humans.
it's showing how the apes have like built their home and how they are now and how they have learned to interact with each other. And that's the one thing I did think was good though. The thing I was worried about in this movie, I thought that every ape was going to be talking. They were all going to be like talking to each other and stuff.
They didn't overdo the talking.
Yeah, that was a good point. They didn't overdo the talking, which was a really good thing, because
the only real ones that talk is Cobra and Caesar.
But apes can't talk in real. It's completely unbelievable, but it makes it more believable.
That
because
only 2 of them can.
It makes it a bit less like unrealistic. But anyway, It
also shows obviously how human civilization has broken down, and apes have kind of regained that civilization.
It's good
that the humans had.
And then basically there's the confrontation between a human and an ape, and the human shoots the ape, doesn't kill it, but he shoots the ape, and that kind of starts a big rift. And Cobra is the villain in the movie.
Well, you could say villain, but he's not really a villain.
Basically, this is what I really liked about it, because Cobra in the start of the movie, he's a good guy. He's with the apes. He's a genuine nice guy. He like helps Caesar with everything.
He's a bit ugly though with the scars.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
You could tell he's going to be bad. It was so obvious.
No, but he's a damaged personality.
Yeah, obviously, because obviously the humans mistreated him.
As soon as the humans turn up, Cobra changes. He starts remembering all the bad stuff humans did to him, and because he doesn't know anything else, he doesn't know humans how Caesar knows humans as like nice people. He knows humans as like people who test on him and like abuse him and stuff. And that's what Cobra's been brought up to be like. But Cobra in this one, he starts off good, but then he just completely changes because it's not his fault. It's the humans' fault, really. So the humans are really to blame for Cobra's personality, but it basically just switches. And I thought that was really good how they did that.
Then there's the boss fight between Caesar and Cobra, one of the best boss fights that's ever been in a film, I think. I think it's great.
I think the thing that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes did so well that everyone overlooks really is how you can be so connected to characters
that don't even talk, really.
Yeah, that either don't talk or they're just CGI. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've ever been connected to a CGI character as much as Caesar or any of the apes in the Planet of the Apes movie. And another
CGI is really good in this film as well.
I wouldn't. I think it deserves to be an Oscar nomination for best CGI.
God, yeah.
But what was I going to say? Yeah, Gary Oldman in the film. When I saw the trailer, I thought Gary Oldman was going to be
the kind of
the
main
bad guy. He was going to be the guy the evil human and everything. And he's not. He's not an evil human at all. Basically, he wants what's best for the human people. He's not a bad person for like going against the apes, but the apes kind of force his hand. Yeah. And that's the thing. Basically, Cobra shoots Caesar, and he basically blames it on the humans, which basically causes some massive fight. And basically, I thought it was good that the apes started the war against humans and apes.
Yeah. That was cool.
I think it would have been too easy to be like,
the humans going with all guns blazing. Yeah,
humans just like destroy everything. Humans just are unpeaceful because that's kind of just
because the whole point in the film is to show the actual similarities between the apes and the humans. That's the whole point in the film.
All the apes think that humans are evil people and stuff like that, but in the end they realise that they're basically it's basically the same. They're basically the same type of people. They're both angry at the same things. They both do the same things, and like they both retaliate in the same way. And it's I think that's good.
The thing is with Gary Oldman though, his part isn't that big. He's like what Bryan Cranston was in Godzilla, except from he doesn't get killed off within 25 minutes of the film twice.
Yeah, I think you know what we like. People think of Godzilla, it's not good, but. Gary Oldman. I thought he was going to have a bigger part.
Yeah, I thought he'd be the person to kind of really drive the plot.
That's the thing I like though. I like the fact that as soon as the humans turn up, it wasn't about humans. It was still about the apes. It was all
the whole film is about the apes.
It was all from the apes'
perspective.
Really, yeah. It's all from the apes' perspective, and it's all like I don't know. It's really good to see all the apes doing their stuff and like going against humans and how Cobra twists things and everything. So it's an awesome movie. If you haven't seen it already, just definitely go and see it because
the film is great. It's really unpredictable. It's unpredictable. When you're watching it, you think one thing's going to happen and it doesn't.
It's because the trailer kind of throws you off. Really,
it does.
But it goes in a way that you don't expect it to go, which is always good, and it makes it a lot more engaging. Like in the film, when you're in the cinema, you're like, oh, this is going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And it doesn't. It takes you in a completely different direction, which is good. I like that.
And the ending's good as well. Because I thought, the way they ended Rise of the Planet of the Apes, they had this kind of big music number where, Caesar's crawling up the trees and it's all really dramatic. Yeah, and I was thinking if they end this one like that, it's not going to work because they've shown that they're both completely different films, and they ended it in a completely different way. It was just this one shot of Caesar's eyes, and basically the end of the film, where the next one's kind of going to go. There's going to be a war between. I'm interested to see
how the next one's going to go though, but
how they left it is there's basically going to be a war between.
There's going to be a third one, and I think they're going to do a third one and end it there. I think.
Yeah, I think people like trilogies these days.
I think they're going to do that. They're going to have a Planet of the Apes trilogy, a new Planet of the Apes trilogy, and then they're going to maybe a few years later remake the classic Planet of the Apes. That's what I think they're going to do because these ones have been such a hit that they can remake the other one and make so much money.
Yeah, but
everyone's going to see
it's
it.
a completely kind of different thing because the other Planet of the Apes is set on a different island. It's not on human civilization.
Yeah, but I just think they're going to remake it in the way that they've done these ones. But yeah, if you haven't seen Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes or Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, go and see both of them because they're amazing films.
It's certainly my favourite film of the year.
So far.
It's probably on par with X-Men Days of Future Past. Ben hasn't seen that yet.
I haven't seen that yet.
But if I had to choose between X-Men Days of Future Past and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes to see right now, I'd see Dawn of the Planet of the Apes again.
Yeah.
Because it was so good.
I was expecting to be disappointed in some ways, but I wasn't. I was surprised about how good it actually was as a sequel. But
normally sequels are rubbish.
But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go and see it, and tell us what you think in the comments if you have seen it. And as always, like and subscribe, and peace out.